Welcome to the software testing. Myself Aruna, working as assistant professor in Department of ISC in Venkateshwara College of Engineering. Today we are going to deal with a perspective on testing. What are the basic definitions we have while performing testings? The basic definitions are error, fault, failure, incident, test, test case. Let us see what is error. Error. People make errors. A good synonym is mistake. When people make mistakes while coding, we call these mistakes as bugs. Example for this is a programmer writes a program. An error occurred in the process of writing a program. This could be an example for error. Next definition is fault. A fault is a result of an error or the manifestation of one or more errors. Example for the fault is you can write incorrect statement or you can use wrong data type. This could be an example for fault. Next we have failure. A failure occurs when the code corresponding to the fault executes. Or failure occurs when faulty piece of the code is executed leading to incorrect state that propagates to the program's output. So you could have the system crash itself as an example for failure. Next definition we have incident. What is incident? When a failure occurs, it may or may not be readily apparent to the user. Incident is a symptom associated with failure that alerts the user to the occurrence of the failure. So it will inform the user by giving some trigger message saying some failure has occurred. Next definition we have test. Test is concerned with errors, faults, failures, and incidents. A test is act of exercising software with test cases. A test has two distinct goals: to find failures or to demonstrate the correct execution. So that is the main goal of the test. We are going to find the failures as well as we are going to demonstrate the correct execution of the program. Next we have test case. A test case has an identity and is associated with the program's behavior. It also has a set of inputs and expected outputs. Usually, a test case is identified through a unique ID and it is associated with the program's behavior. It actually includes a set of inputs, expected output. After executing your program, what is the actual behavior of your program? That is going to be recorded in the test case. This is about the basic definitions of test case. Next topic we have testing life cycle. Tester summarizes this life cycle as follows. First three phases are putting bugs in. Testing phase is finding the bugs. So in this three phases we can have the faults, and the second phase, that is your testing phase, we are going to identify that bugs or faults whichever arise during this phase, specification, design as well as the coding phase. Whichever the phase the fault has encountered, that will be identified by doing the testing. So we are going to identify the bugs. The last three phase are getting bugs out. So we call it as this three phase as getting bugs out. That means we are going to resolve the fault that has been occurred. So this we call it as fault resolution step. Is the another opportunity for the errors. So we are going to resolve the faults which has arise, okay, and then we are going to uh, get out of the bugs. This is about testing life cycle. Next we have test cases. We have discussed, a test case is a document that defines a test item and specifies set of inputs or data, execution condition and expected results. See, these are the things which we are going to have in test cases. So we will have all this information in test case. One is test case ID. The second one is purpose, why you are testing. Next is precondition, inputs, expected output, post condition, execution history, date, result, version, run by. So what is test case ID? To identify test case, we should have a unique ID. So that is called as test case ID. Next we have purpose. What do you mean by purpose? Purpose, for what purpose you are testing? You have to give the description about the particular program. What is the purpose of testing? Which program you are testing? That you are going to describe the purpose of the testing. Preconditions. So suppose if you are considering any preconditions, we have to specify in this preconditions. What is the inputs? Next we have inputs. Next we are going to deal with inputs. What is the inputs you are going to feed for your program or software that is being developed? What is the inputs? For example, if I consider triangle program, triangle has three sides. So A, B, C. So I have to read the sides of the triangles as an input. So I'll be reading A, B, C value, that is the sides of the triangle. So that will be acting as an inputs. Expected output. So for the same triangle program, what should be the expected output? If all three sides are equal, then we will call it as equilateral triangle. Then the expected output should be equilateral triangle. If two sides are equal, then we are going to have the expected output as isosceles triangle. Next, if none of the sides, whatever we have read, is equal, then definitely it should be scalene triangle. So this is what the expected output mean. So we have to specify what should be the behavior of the program in your expected output. Then post conditions. If at all, if it is necessary, you can specify the post conditions as well. Next, execution history. While executing your software, what are the faults occur? What are the bugs you have uh, gone across? So that if you see the history or a log file, it should be recorded. Through that, we have to come to know each and every line how it has been executed. So we will be having the execution history of each and every line. Next, date and version run by. So when this test case was executed, okay, that date we are going to specify. Okay, in that test case we are going to have a date. Next we will be having version Okay, which version of the software you are using, okay, that we are going to specify in the test case. So manual testing, we are going to have all these things. Even automated testing, for example, if you are using any tool like Selenium, so it's an automated testing tool. So automatically test case ID, we have to read the inputs and expected behavior. We can see after execution of the program, we can see the execution history. It will be recorded, and then we can see the what is the software you have used and date and time. Those things will be recorded. This is how in automation testing the test case will be having the details about the information. This is about the test cases. I'll stop here. Thank you.